Kazuma is the name of this guy right here. Ga is a particle that indicates the subject of the sentence. Watashitachi means we. No is a particle that indicates property. We'll come back at this in a moment.
Okay.
Nugi chirakashita comes from the verb nugi chirakasu, which we can divide in two parts. Nugi coming from the verb nugu, to undress, and chirakasu, to scatter around. So this basically means to take off and leave scattered around. In its past form, godantai verb with su ending. Su becomes shita. Nugi chirakashita, took off and left scattered around. Sentakumono means laundry, or in other words, clothes that need to be washed, which is the mix of the kanji sentaku, washing, and mono, thing. Now, when you see a noun coming right after a verb, it means that the noun performs or experiences the course of action. Let's take a look at the following examples. Therefore, this means clothes that we took off and left scattered around. We are deducing the pronoun we in this scenario. Remember that this is possible in Japanese since we can rely on context to fill some blanks. Now we'll take a look at some examples with this no particle. Therefore, this means or clothes that we took off and left scattered around, indicating that the clothes belong to them. Kun-kun is an onomatopoeia for sniff sniff. If we add suru, it becomes a verb. Kun-kun suru, to sniff, in its deiru form. First, we turn it into step form. Irregular verb suru becomes shite, kun-kun shite, and then we add iru, kun-kun shiteiru, to be sniffing. As you can see, the teiru form turns a verb from its simple present tense to its present continuous. And we can also omit the I character from iru. The meaning doesn't change at all, and it also sounds more natural. Kun-kun shiteru, to be sniffing. So, this whole block means to be sniffing the clothes that we took off and left scattered around.
Wait, I have noticed that when verbs connect to a direct object, there's usually a particle between them, like this. And this particle indicates that what precedes it is a direct object. But here nothing seems to connect them, so why is this?
Sometimes the particle o gets omitted, just like the particle wa and ga during speech. 私はケーキを食べる can be reduced to ケーキ食べる, omitting both particles and the pronoun I, if the context makes obvious that the speaker is talking about oneself. So, when you see a verb coming right after a noun, o is more likely implicit in the sentence. Koto acts as a nominalizer. In simple terms, it turns the previous verb clause into a noun.
Huh?
映画を見ることが好きです。Movie or movies, to watch, nominalizer, subject particle, liking, and formal ending copula. 映画を見る means to watch a movie or to watch movies. 映画を見ること means watching a movie or watching movies. With こと, this is not a verb anymore, but a noun. It's not saying to watch movies, but it's the matter of watching movies. So, to be sniffing the clothes that we took off and left scattered around becomes being sniffing the clothes that we took off and left scattered around. Therefore, so far we have Kazuma being sniffing the clothes that we took off and left scattered around. Let's continue. 黙っててあげよう comes from the verb 黙る to become silent, and this is the process we'll be embarking in. It's not as hard as it seems, don't worry, I will explain each step carefully. First, we turn it into its step form. Godantai verb with ru ending. Last ru becomes te, and then we add iru, 黙っている to remain silent or to be silent.
Wait, I don't fully understand the difference between damaru and damatteiru.
Damaru, as we mentioned earlier, means to become silent, so it describes ceasing to speak or ceasing to make noise, implying going from a state of making sound to not making sound. Damatteiru, on the other hand, expresses the continuous state of being or remaining silent. Check the following examples. The one thing we must remember is that the deiru form is used to describe the current continuing state of something, whether it's a verb or even an adjective. For example, yogoreru means to get dirty or to become dirty. In its deiru form, yogoreteiru, to be dirty. In its plain form, it describes going from a state of not being dirty to being dirty, while in its deiru form, it describes the continuous state of being dirty. Let's continue with our verb. Now, we'll remove the I from iru, damatteru. This doesn't change the meaning at all, and it's pretty common since it keeps a nice flow in speech. Now we have to turn this into its te ageru form. Damatteru in its te form, remember that this ru is actually iru, which is an ichidan-tai verb, so ru becomes te, damattete. And now we add ageru, damattete ageru. This te ageru form is used when the speaker wants to say that they will do something as a favor or for the benefit of someone else. So, if damatteru means to remain silent or to be silent, damattete ageru means to remain silent or to be silent for someone. And we can deduce from the context that this someone is you. Therefore, we have to remain silent for you. And we have reached the end of the chain. Now we only have to turn this into its volitional form. Ageru is an ichidan-tai verb, so plus ru becomes yo. Damattete ageo. Let's remain silent for you. To is a particle with multiple usages, but here it's followed by a verb that indicates thoughts. Omou, to think. In instances like these, think of to as quotation marks, indicating what is the thought. Omotta, as previously stated, comes from the verb omou, to think, in its past form. Kodan-tai verb plus u becomes ta, omotta, thought. Therefore, so far we have kazuma, being sniffing the clothes that we took off and left scattered around. Let's remain silent, I thought. Nani, when found at the end of a sentence, expresses frustration, regret, or disappointment, often interpreted as even though or despite. 一生懸命頑張ったのに。わあ、本当に行きたかったのに。So, I will interpret this sentence as despite I thought of remaining silent about Kazuma sniffing the clothes that we took off and left scattered around.
What about the let's? Does it get lost in translation?
Kind of. This structure of verb in its volitional form plus to omou is actually the most natural way to express thought. 食べに行こうと思った. Literally, I thought let's go to eat. Interpreted, I thought of going to eat. It might sound weird, but yeah, this is basically the way thoughts are expressed. Well, that's it. Subscribe to this channel if you find this content useful. Leave a like and turn on the notifications. Consider joining our beautiful Discord community if you want to expedite your learning process. Thank you all so much for the 10K. I'll see you in the next video. じゃあね。